All right, guys, today we're going to be looking in depth at the trap bar deadlift, an exercise that I don't think gets enough attention or gets enough positive attention. You see a lot of people trashing it online. You see coaches saying, it's not a real deadlift, blah, blah, blah. It absolutely is. The trap bar deadlift is a great tool for younger athletes, less experienced athletes, or people that want to overload the deadlift in different various ways. So let's kind of go into why the trap bar deadlift is different, how you do it, and how does it compare to a regular deadlift. Luckily enough here at elitefts, we have this slew of equipment just laying around. Just so happens to be laying here. So now what we're going to do, kind of look at the deadlift from a very, from like an anatomical perspective, right? So everybody's kind of seen the deadlift, whether you pull conventional or sumo. Doesn't really matter. But the idea is very simple, right? And I'm going to, if you can watch this from the side. We want to get nice and tight, nice and strong through the core. Lift, stand straight up. A couple things I want you to focus on is the weight is in front of us, right? You hear a lot from people saying, oh, deadlifts hurt my back, blah, blah, blah. The reason that is that they're lacking the core stability to maintain a good neutral spine position through that pull and drive through their hips. So as we load a weight in front of us, it's going to get more difficult to hold and stabilize. So if you're newer to lifting or weaker or coming back from an injury, I love the trap bar deadlift because, as you see, the weight is now at our center of mass, which makes a tremendous amount of difference when it comes to making sure that you're in a proper position to make sure you're doing the weight correctly and doing the exercise how you should. A couple key points with the trap bar. How you do it makes all the difference in the world. You can't just throw yourself in this, grab it, lift it up, and expect to get the same results that you would from a deadlift. How you do it makes all the difference. So what you'll see a lot of people do is they'll do more of a squat, letting their knees come forward farther than they would on a normal deadlift, keeping that chest upright, and turning this into more of a squatting motion. Nothing wrong with that. If you want to emphasize your quads, if you want to get bigger pump in your quads, whatever you want to do, that's a great way of doing that. But if you want to get more carryover from a trap bar deadlift into a regular deadlift, you need to lift it the same. So instead of letting those knees travel forward, we want to keep the hips a little higher, that back a little flatter, loading up into the hamstrings, driving right through. Even doing that rep, I could feel more tension through the hamstrings and the glutes, more so than that first version. So we kind of went over the nuances and the differences between a regular deadlift and a trap bar. What I want to show you now is variations that you can use for not only lower body exercises, but upper body exercises as well. First and foremost, most people will have a standard trap bar. You can find our trap bar at elitefts.com. So it has a high handle and a low handle, right? So for most people, you just see them using the high handle. It's fine. But people have a tendency of forgetting that you can use the low handle. And that's a whole different variation in itself. You get more bang for your buck with this trap bar if you use both handles. This will force you into a greater degree of hip flexion and force you to stabilize in a deeper position. So if you find yourself saying, wow, when I use my trap bar, I can load this thing up and do a bunch of reps. Cool, that's awesome. Now, switch handles, use that low handle, and try to max that out as well. Another cool thing that you can do with this trap bar, and I'll use the low handles for this, is you can use it as a rowing exercise. We have a video from, I think, a couple years ago where Jordan Shallow and John Meadows were using this variation for a row, for a pen lay row to work their upper back. And again, this is a very cool exercise here. You lock in, row up. Lock in, row up. Again, another variation for the trap bar that not a lot of people do. But it's a great way to lock that position in, get a lot of emphasis where you want to work with your upper back, your lats, and get a whole slew of results from the same bar. Word to the wise when it comes to loading a trap bar. Most people, they struggle, right? You'll see people doing this, like pulling weights off and shit. Don't do that. Be an adult. Lift, stand. Voila. Now, bada bing, bada boom. Very easy. This also takes us into the other cool thing that we can do with the trap bar, loaded carries. Loaded carries are an exercise that I think should be in everybody's program for regardless of what your goals are. They're so beneficial for everything you do, especially with the trap bar, because again, it's very easy to load, very easy to throw some decent weight on this, go for a walk. And one of the cool things I like to do is load some weight on this thing, you pick it up and you start walking. You walk 50 feet, 100 feet, whatever you want to do. And before you put it down, you hit a few reps, right? And then put it down. Again, it's a great way to train your posterior chain, hamstrings, glutes, quads, core, upper back, everything, right? Gets you strong, gets that GPP in, which we'll do a video on, kind of going in depth with that a little bit too. And again, it just makes your training more fun. So if you have access to a trap bar, I want you to kind of experiment with it, try to figure out what we, kind of what we went over today. Have some fun with it, use it for rows, use it for squattier deadlifts, use it for more hingier deadlifts. Use the tool for a way for you to get better at whatever it is you want to do. So guys, if you enjoyed this video, make sure you like it, subscribe, do all the things. And for myself, Jacob behind the camera, we will see you in the next one.